and welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Vinny Motiwala. And viewers, this is the show where you get all your stock-related queries answered by the experts. We'll also tell you what is the topic of Buy Now, Sell Now lens today. But let's have a look at what the markets are up to. So, Winnie, after a muted start for the Indian markets, the bulls once again taking the lead, and look at the move in Bank Nifty.
Absolutely, Bank Nifty, even the benchmark indices. Just let's look at the charts for that as well. Let's look at the Nifty almost muted is what it started. She rightly mentioned that, and look at the up move that has come in for the Nifty 50. That is also trading almost near the day's highest point. And yes, pulling out that Bank Nifty chart almost above that 44,000 mark, yes, but that 44,200 level is what everyone is keeping an eye out on. That is 44,100 and above those levels is something that is going to be something that everyone's keeping an eye out on. And obviously Bank Nifty is just 220 points away from its all-time high levels approximately. So let's keep an eye out on that. Let's now look at some of the individual movers also. First we'll look at the mid-cap space. What is Nifty mid-cap doing? Seeing gains of 0.6% in trade, small cap 2 doing and performing well in tandem with the benchmark indices as well. 0.5% uptick coming in there as well. I'm going to look at some of the Nifty names that are doing well in trade today, and we have Tata Motors that is leading the Nifty 50 gainers, then Tech Mahindra, Eicher Motors, Hindalco among the top gainers coming in there, while losers we have Adani Enterprises, Cipla, Divi's Lab and Adani Ports, which are seeing a bit of a lag coming in on that front as well. Individual sector wise, what are the sectoral movers today? Okay, interestingly, what we're seeing in terms of that is Realty is surely holding on to very good gains coming in there as well. Nifty Realty is up 3% in trade. We did have some data coming in on the Realty space as well, where we're seeing an increase. So yes, keeping that in mind, Nifty Realty is surely among the buzzers, while what is losing in trade today, and the only sector that is trading in the red as of now is the Nifty Pharma space. So keeping an eye out on that. But as of now, surely markets seem to have picked up pace this morning, Shrishti.
Well, yes, so these were the movers and shakers in today's morning. But let's move on with the Buy Now, Sell Now topic for today. And today onto the lens, we will be focusing on the Adani group of companies. Why so? Because there are a lot of news flow coming in for the Adani group, where in the latest, the company has actually approved the fundraising plan for Adani Enterprise as well as Adani Transmission, where they plan to raise as much as 21,000 crores via QIP. Not just that, today is the Supreme Court hearing on the Adani and Hindenburg case row. So a lot of these news flows are piling up for Adani group of companies. Firstly, let's get in more details from Sharad, and then we'll try to dissect what does this mean for the Adani group of shares. So firstly, let's go across to Sharad to find out more details.
Well, yes, Adani Group is in focus as Adani Group companies are expected to raise almost 21,000 crore rupees via QIP or any other modes. And to break it down, Adani Enterprise is expected to raise almost 12,500 crore rupees, while for Adani Transmission, the amount is 8,500 crore rupees. Now, do remember, shareholders' approval will be expected to kick in for these two companies, but there is also a third company in the Adani Group, which is Adani Green Energy, which was expected to announce its fundraise, but the meeting has been deferred from May 13 to May 24. So this is the entire picture coming in as for the Adani Group's fundraise, and this is happening first time after the Hindenburg report had kicked in. And also do remember, there is an important Supreme Court hearing which is on the final hearing for this case, which is there. So that is something which we will be watching out for. And thirdly, Adani Total Gas, Adani Green Energy and Adani Transmission, these three companies from Adani Group will be actually coming out from the ASM framework.
Obviously, a lot of news flow that is coming in around the Adani stocks, a lot of things to watch out for there as well. So now, tracking the news flows, obviously, of these companies, our managing editor, Nikunj Dalmia, also has his view coming in. And what does he believe in terms of the Adani stocks? What does this news flow actually indicate? Let's go across and listen in.
So, SC judgment is something which you cannot comment on because it's sub judice. Sure. But fundraising, let's understand that. 21,000 crore, I think, is an enabling resolution. Now, yeah. It's not that they're going to go and raise capital tomorrow morning. But the fact that they are raising capital via the QIP route, it means that they do not want to lever more debt on the balance sheet. See, typically markets are not worried about equity issuance because the nature of the Adani group of business is such that, frankly, it's cash flows and it is based on the book value, order value and the assets which they have. Those are the parameters on which investors, they buy the stock. Nobody is buying the stock because of an EPS and PE. So if they're raising money via the equity route, that means that they are not looking at raising more debt. B, I think this is just an enabling resolution, and enabling resolution means that they may not be going out and raising cash immediately, which means that whenever the need arises, they would be looking at raising cash. It would be interesting to see that post what happened to the Adani Enterprise FPO, which is where they got interest from large institutional investors, but the retail kitty did not got fully subscribed. What quality of institutional investors now would be coming in? That, I think, for me becomes in primary importance whenever they raise capital. But one thing is that if the fundraising happens, Aisha, it means that Adani Group, which we all thought that would be cutting down their investment plans, they're not looking at cutting down their investment plans. So that's good news.
And that gives market the confidence as well, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and 21,000 crore rupees is no small amount.
I think it's an enabling resolution,
Yeah.
so they're not going to raise everything in a
course,
jiffy.
yeah.
It was like the Adani FPO, which was 10,000 crore, and it had a promise of doubling it up. So the size is not that large. They may increase 4,000 crore, 5,000 crore, depending on what their capital need is. So I think they're conservative now. Do not want to raise debt. Raise equity or raise capital whenever the project requirement is. For example, it could be for airport acquisition, it could be really for the green hydrogen plants. But if they're able to raise capital, that means that the plans what they had in terms of growth, in terms of expansion, in terms of entering into new businesses, that remains unchallenged.
Okay, so that was the editor's take on Adani Group of companies, what all is happening and what does this fundraising really mean for the whole group. As of now, what we have seen is that today is the Supreme Court hearing on the Adani Hindenburg probe, and in the last hearing, what we have seen that the SEBI was actually looking out for a 6 months extension, but what Supreme Court is saying that they could actually go ahead with just 3 months extension. So the final hearing is today and all eyes will be on that. But let's try and connect with our experts. Kunal Bothra as well as Ashish Maheshwari is joining us onto the show right now. Hi, very good morning, gentlemen. We'll try to get your perspective on how do you see the Adani Group of shares. But firstly, Ashish, let me come to you. We have a lot of news flow with the Adani Group of companies. You have also heard the editor's take on that. What do you make a sense of the news flow that is happening and with the fundraising plan? Because all these Adani Group of shares have corrected a lot from their all-time highs. A lot of investors are have concerns regarding the recovery in the share price. So amongst the pack, where do you find the value right now? And with the kind of news flow that we are seeing, what's your outlook?
Yes, again, today is a crucial day as far as Adani Group is concerned, because what kind of timeline extension is going to take place will come to know. But one thing is sure, like companies like Adani, where hundreds of bank accounts, thousands of transactions are there, you can't finish a probe in 3 to 6 months time. Looking at the past track record of SEBI, typically such probes will require 15 months to even 2 years time frame. So in my view, this 3 month timeline extension may further get extension also in coming months, because until unless you are sure and you provide all the data and facts in your report, this is not going to be a complete closure of this case is possible. So as far as Supreme Court thing is concerned, I find there's a small hangover today you are witnessing in the stock, and once this extension comes, gradually this will come down. As far as fundraising concerned, this is quite interesting, because at this price point and or this point of time, people are not expecting that 21,000 crore kind of fundraising will be easy for Adani Group, looking at whatever the adversities and negative news flows are there. But whenever you launch a QIP or you make a such plan, generally you talk to investors in advance, then only you launch an issue. So I'm sure that they might be speaking to few investors through investment bankers, and these numbers they have arrived at, investors are there. So in short term, this issue related to Supreme Court is going to be there. But in long run, if they are able to raise money, I think again we'll see some upward journey for the stocks. But right now, I'm neutral as far as group is concerned, because there are so many short-term factors related to Supreme Court time extension and what kind of dilution are going to take place. This will keep a stock price movement under the check. So right now, I'm neutral as far as stocks are concerned.
as far as the stocks are concerned as of now. But Kunal, what's your view on this? Would you also be neutral? Because obviously we have seen that correction coming in and all the issues that were going on, but now that fundraising is also there. What are the charts indicating?
So even I would be a bit neutral towards the Adani group of stocks, specifically the likes of Adani Enterprise, Ports, Power, Transmission, etc. Most of these stocks had done exceptionally well from their, I think, February lows. Recovered quite smartly. Many of these stocks recovered 30-40%. Some of them, like Adani Enterprise, I think recovered at one point almost 80 to 90% from the 1000 or 1100, which was the low for the stock price. So now I think these stocks could be into a settling phase where they would now get back into a range kind of an action. Ambuja Cement is the only stock which actually in terms of technical charts looks a bit more stronger, that it has a slight edge as compared to most of the other peers. The stock is confirming some sort of a breakout in terms of ascending triangle on the daily charts, even though it's a very smaller term time frame kind of a breakout for Ambuja Cement, but that's the only chart which looks attractive from the entire pack. So would be a bit neutral, but I think Ambuja Cements could be the only stock which I would look to trade on, specifically on the confirmation of a breakout.
Okay, so that's the take on Adani Group of shares, although both our analysts are right now neutral on the Adani Group of shares, but on the technical front, Kunal is liking Ambuja Cements. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break, but don't go anywhere as we come right back. It's time to take all your stock-related queries, so stay tuned and keep sending your queries to us.
Welcome back, and you're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, and look at where the Nifty is. It is at 18,400. Even managed to touch above that level, reaching those high levels as well. An interesting time coming in. That is the first time since 21st December 2022 that Nifty has crossed that 18,400 mark. Kunal, your view on this? 18,400 is here. What should we be expecting? Do you see this momentum actually continuing going forward that we're seeing today in trade?
I think it's a good going for the indices. In the last 2 months, we've seen the indices recover, FIIs making a strong comeback, the buying quite strong, global markets making a very good comeback. Many of the global markets where there was actually heavy amount of selling, those markets have gone into a stable price trend for themselves. So I think it's a good mix from the global arena. Talking of our market specifically in terms of internals, I think it's been a fantastic market breadth over the last 1.5 odd month, right from the likes of defensive sectors like FMCG, pharma stocks, banking stocks, financials. Many of these sectors have made a dramatic comeback in the last 1.5 odd month. The sentiment has not yet come into the extreme positive, and that's why you're seeing those very meager moves for the indices every day, 40, 50 point, 80 point on the index. But I think once the sentiment kicks off onto the extreme side, on the upside is where we would probably see more heightened moves on the indices. So as of now, it's just that the markets are into a fine fettle. Things are going very smooth for the indices. Would expect this momentum to continue.
Okay, expecting this momentum to continue. That's the take coming in on the benchmark indices. But with this, viewers, let's kickstart taking all your stock related queries. Just a quick note that you can connect with us live onto the WhatsApp number that will be flashing right on your screen, and you can also write to us onto the ET Now's Twitter as well as Facebook page. So let's get started with taking all your stock related queries. And the first question, Ashish, I have is coming from Parvinder Singh. He's holding two counters. Firstly is dealing 50 shares from a price of 250 rupees, and the other one is Fortis, 80 shares at the price of 280 rupees. It's been almost 1 year that he's holding both of these counters. So wants your advice on what to do with the next 2 to 3 months outlook.
D-Link is a stock where not too much is happening. The stock is hovering at these levels for quite some time. Along with Fortis Healthcare is again a stock which has underperformed if you see other healthcare related stock as such. So I suggest exit from both D-Link as well as Fortis Healthcare. And I'll suggest instead of D-Link, you can look at an alternative stock which can be Parag Milk Food Limited, which is hovering at around 110 levels, and it's a big turnaround story, Parag Milk Food, and it can give you around 20% more upside in next 3 to 4 months. As far as Fortis Healthcare is concerned, again, I'm not expecting any fireworks or any major swing upward in this stock also for next 3 to 4 months. Instead of this, you can switch to Glenmark Pharma, which can give you better return compared to Fortis Health.
Okay, Kunal, this next query is on Ethos watches. Yes, they did give their numbers. When we're seeing in terms of numbers, what we're seeing is a margin contraction. So there's a clear pressure that we're seeing on the stock today, Kunal. It's down 11%. Now, Sunny wants to know that is it a good time to actually start buying Ethos watches, and should they start accumulating now at this level?
Well, the history for the stock is limited, so difficult to forecast it from a long-term view. But then the last 2 days of candlestick pattern indicates that maybe the stock is showing a separating line, kind of a candlestick pattern, which indicates that maybe for the next 1 or 2 weeks the stock may be under some sort of selling pressure. But you have to look at for the slightly medium-term charts for Ethos, the stock has done exceptionally well from 720. The stock moved up to 1440 in the last, I think. 12 months or 14 months approximately. So which means that the major part of an uptrend so far is behind us. The stock may go into a correction. You could be at a beneficial point if the stock assumingly comes back towards 1100 mark. That could be a point where you may look to start accumulating or buying the stock. So I think it's a good stock, holding on to it from long-term play, but then buying on dips is a better strategy starting at 1100 levels.
Okay, that's the take on Ethos. But Kunal, once again coming to you, there are two questions from Sumana Das from Darjeeling. Firstly, she is holding Godfrey Phillips, 400 shares at a price of 1750 rupees, and also entered UPL with 400 quantity near about to the current market price. What's her outlook on the times ahead? She wants a short-term levels that she should be tracking, and also can she average at current levels?
See, I'll start off with UPL. It's been a very tricky stock, very difficult to decipher trends for UPL on a consistent basis because the stock has this odd tendency of giving a breakdown on charts and then all of a sudden reversing, and vice versa as well, which happens on breakouts for UPL. So very difficult to decipher the trends. Recently, in fact, the stock had given a breakdown below 700 mark, still struggling to break back above the 700 level. So I would not suggest a buy on UPL. If you've bought, then I think keep a trailing stop loss. Maybe 655 could be a trailing stop loss for UPL, but only above 700 is where I would expect momentum to pick up for UPL. For Godfrey Phillips, this could be interesting because the stock seems to be coming back towards a major support at the 1700 mark. So whether it's in end of 2022 or even prior to that, 1700 mark has been acting as a major support. So you can hold on to the stock as of now. Assuming if it doesn't break below 1700 mark, then we can expect this uptrend to continue for Godfrey as well.
Okay. Moving on to the next query, and Ashish, this query is coming in for you. We have this query on ICICI Bank. This one is from Shiv from Dubai. They want to know actually if they should hold or sell Tata Motors and as well as ICICI Bank and look to buy something else. What's the view on both these stocks? Tata Motors, their average price is 476 rupees. ICICI Bank, they bought it at 900 rupees. So both these stocks, what should they be doing?
No, both stocks are doing good, and on account of good quarterly set of numbers, which we saw in ICICI Bank and Tata Motors. So I'll advise hold on both the stocks. ICICI Bank, my target is around 1000 rupees once the next quarterly number comes, because the kind of robustness is there in the margins and the profitability. ICICI Bank will surely go to places and is one of the most sought after private sector banking stock now. So ICICI Bank remain invested. Again, Tata Motor turnaround story, lot of funds which were not investing in company on account of losses now will make a beeline to buy Tata Motors, and that's what we are witnessing in the price also. So wait for at least 600 rupees in Tata Motors.
Wait for at least 600 on Tata Motors. That's the take coming in on Ashish. I got a lot of queries on to the Tata Motors stock as well. So hope that answers your query on the same. Moving on, and let's switch to the FMCG space. And Kunal, the question is from Akhil from Delhi, and he wants your advice on two FMCG names. Firstly, he's holding HUL from a price of 2590 rupees. What you want to do is exit HUL and rather buy Nestle. So what's your take on, is that a good strategy, and if yes, then in what levels he should enter Nestle India?
I think it's not a good strategy because HUL is just picking up pace. It's heading towards a breakout. Yes, Nestle has already confirmed a breakout. The stock has been a leader, but remember that HUL has historically proved many a times that it can make a formidable comeback and can stand out to be a leader for the entire FMCG pack. So the trend is quite strong. In fact, what we are actually seeing is in the last 2-3 weeks, many of the beleaguered stocks from the FMCG, like Dabur, for example, has made a very good comeback from 510 to now 530 approximately where it's trading. So many of these underperforming FMCG names are making very good comeback. It makes sense to hold on to HUL as of now and not shift to Nestle just because the stock has outperformed. In fact, if possible, then look to maybe add even Dabur as well as HUL further if you have extra capital from current levels.
Okay, let's move on. And Ashish, this query is from Jaya from Bangalore. This one is on Balaji Amines. They are holding Balaji Amines at 2,175 rupees. Should they continue to hold this for the long term, or what is your view on this?
This Balaji, I mean, as far as fundamentals are concerned, there's no issue as such. And again, chemical stocks and particularly specialty chemical stocks are bouncing back from their lows after touching, highs in previous year. So I'll suggest to you remain invested. Fundamentally, very good company, and gradually you are going to see good numbers from Balaji. I mean, almost debt-free status of chemical companies will make it more attractive going forward. So remain invested here.
The take on Balaji Mines, but with this fears, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now, a show where you get all your stock-related queries answered by the experts. We have Kunal as well as Ashish onto the show. And continuing with the same, the next query, Kunal, is for you. And the question is from Satya. He wants your advice on two counters. Firstly is Sterling Tools, and the other one is MCX. He wants to know, are these both counters, can he buy at current market price?
Yeah, I think Sterling Tools is a good chart. Looks attractive. I think at current levels, the stock has come back towards 355, correcting from 430 or 435, which was the recent high for Sterling Tools, which means a decent correction has already shaped up for the stock. Good level where you can look to start enter. MCX, in fact, could be a very good buy, I would sense, because the stock has come back towards a major support of 1300, 1350 mark. This was the support where the stock bounced off in the month of February, and then from there it rallied more than I think 10% or 12% from those lows. So I would expect something similar for MCX this time around as well. I would suggest a buy for MCX.
Okay, let's move on. And Ashish, the next query, this one is on a smaller company, that is Jain Irrigation. Now, Ghosh Dada is holding 20,000 shares of Jain Irrigation at 20 rupees. What is the future outlook? If they wish to hold it for the long term, would you suggest, or should they get out and look at some other stock?
See, again, this company is becoming a turnaround case after whatever the debt restructuring, etc., has happened. This is a company you can now remain invested, because fundamentally also there's nothing wrong with the company except highly leveraged position which company was into. So my suggestion will be to remain invested, and in long run also this can give you good returns.
Okay, Ashish, what's your take on Eicher Motors? Rajesh Maheshwari is holding 45 shares at a price of 3,275 rupees. After a great set of numbers, we are seeing the stock continuing its up move, but a couple of analysts are highlighting that there could be a threat to the market share going ahead, given the competition that is building up. So at this point in time, should Rajesh book out some of its profits or continue to hold on?
See, this is a stock which has touched almost 3,900 levels and 52-week high. And from the time, every quarter, we are witnessing very robust set of numbers of their two-wheeler sales. Even last quarter was also not exceptionally good numbers came, which is why stock is getting re-rated. Reports are giving target of 3,900 to even 4,500 in Eicher Motors. So my session will be to remain invested here. Today market cap has also touched almost 1 lakh crore in Eicher Motors, but in my view it will continue to do well. So wait for 3,850 to 3,900 rupees, then exit.
Okay, let's move on and talk about DLF. Kunal, I'm going to come to you for this one. You've spoken about this before as well. We spoke on Friday and the numbers have come in as well. Decent numbers coming in. Stock is surely seeing a good up move as well. Kunal, viewers, now there are a couple of queries on DLF, so I'm just going to combine them. And one is from Dr. Subaya, who wants to know, they're holding 400 shares at 415. What's your short-term view on this and medium-term view on this? Should they continue to hold this? Even a CSV wants to know if is it a good time to buy DLF right now as well?
Well, yeah, I think Leave looks very attractive on the long-term charts, confirming breakouts on multiple time frames. The chart structure, the way the stock has come back to that 450 mark, which is I think a 2-year, 3-year, rather more than a 3-year high for DLF. I think all of that setup is very attractive for the stock. Now, maybe results could be a catalyst for this breakout for the stock, but my stance still remains extremely bullish on the stock. So whether you've bought recently or whether you're looking to buy, I think it's a stock which you should definitely look to hold. And my sense is that hold it out for at least another 1 to 2 years, because I believe that the cycle could start to unfold for the real estate stocks, and DLF could be a major beneficiary for this name. You can also look to add maybe an Oberoi Realty. That's a stock which I would believe is also confirming a very similar kind of a breakout from the real estate pack. So these are the two names which I'd be extremely bullish on.
Okay, bullish on real estate. Have been bullish on real estate. That's the take on from Kunal Bothra. But moving on, and Ashish, the next query is from a long-term investor. The name is Arban Das Gupta from Kolkata, and he's been holding Deepak Nitrite for the past 6 years, and the average price is coming in at 677 rupees at a good returns right now. So what should he do? Can he continue accumulating this particular counter? What's the outlook on the same?
Congratulations to you. First, you are making very good return, and company has rewarded its investors also in last few years handsomely. And the one thing is that they are one of the pioneer in nitric acid, and having almost a monopoly kind of situation as far as that particular chemical is concerned. So my view is to remain invested here until as you don't require money. The stock is still 400 rupees below 50 week high, but fundamentally I like the stock, and in my view, again, once chemical stock will start picking up, Deepak Nitrite will also give you very good return. So hold till 2,300 mark at least.
Okay, the next query is on Berger Paints. Kunal Vinay from Mumbai is holding about 1,000 shares of Berger Paints at 600 rupees. What should they be doing with this? Continue to hold this or book out and get out of the stock?
I think you should continue to hold on, but don't expect very quick kind of returns for the stock, because paint stocks are making a very slow, gradual comeback after being beaten down for, I think, the last good 1 year or 1.5 odd year. So, paints, Asian Paints, Berger Paints, these stocks have made a very gradual comeback. My belief is that this momentum and trend is here to sustain for these paint stocks, but they could go through a very gradual uptick every time. So it depends. If you can extend your time frame a bit more further for these paint stocks, then you should definitely look to hold on to Berger Paints.
Okay, Kunal, once again, the next query is for you. The question is from PR Reddy, and he wants an outlook on two counters. Firstly, what should be the entry level for Angel One Limited? And the second one he's having in his portfolio is RCF, 600 shares at a price of 107. So what should be the target price of the same?
Both are attractive. Angel One is confirming a breakout of an inverted head and shoulder pattern, some more broad-based pattern, more clearly visible on the weekly chart. So it will take a lot of time for the stock to confirm the targets. Maybe over the next 3-4 months, that could be a minimum time frame which you can keep out for. So if you are okay with holding on for that kind of a time frame, then it makes sense to hold on to Angel One. For the other query which you mentioned, RCF 105, 107 seems to be a range where the stock has found major supports, at least over the last 5-6 months, where there has been a big breakout for RCF earlier above 104 mark. I think it went up to 130, 135 kind of levels, and then corrected back towards 105 levels where it's trading right now. So it's a good chart, looks attractive, but then the stock has come back towards a support territory. It may consolidate for maybe a few weeks over here and then get into a sweet uptrend. So I would suggest a hold if you're in from the next 3 to 6 months for both of the stocks.
Okay, let's move on and talk about AFL. Ashish, the viewer Mukund is holding around 200 shares at 1,086 rupees. Should they average the stock or should they look to sell it and book some losses there now?
Yeah, I suggest you exit from this stock. Again, numbers are not in line, particularly for this quarter. Instead of this, you can buy stock of Root Mobile Limited, which is at 1350, and I'm expecting excellent set of numbers on 19th May. Like last year, they did almost 225 crore profit. This year, I'm expecting 300 crore plus in Root Mobile. So this will be a safer bet compared to FIL India.
Okay, Ashish, once again, the question is for you from Krish, and he recently added 50 shares of Torrent Pharma at a price of 1635 rupees. Wants to know the long-term outlook on this one, and he also wishes to add this particular counter for the next 3 years, averaging out the same. So, in the long term, do you see this company winning?
Yes, in pharma stock, one of the very safe bet is Torrent Pharma as far as this is concerned, and very steady kind of a stock, a steady kind of returns, not too much volatility, and slow and steady, like it is again inching up. So my session will be to remain invested. And in fact, any new investor looking at good pharma stock to buy, Torrent is surely should be on your radar.
Okay. Kunal, the next query is for you, and this one is on Tata Steel and Vedanta. Amit from Mumbai wants to know, is it a good time to start buying these stocks at the current price?
I would suggest to avoid these stocks as of now. Metal, as it is as a sector, has not gone to the thick of momentum. The stocks within the metal pack have been underperformers. I mean, the two names which you mentioned, Vedanta as well as Tata Steel. So I don't sense that from an underperforming sector, you pick up an underperforming stock or a set of stocks. So that's not a great strategy unless you are a long-term investor and then you really want to hold on to these names for say the next 2 years, 3 years kind of a time frame. That's the only criteria which I would suggest makes sense to buy these stocks. Otherwise, if you're a short-term trader, medium-term trader with a time from 3-6 months odd, then I think you should not be looking to buy these names at least as of now.
Okay, Kunal, you did touch upon Dabur. So the next question is from Suresh, and he wants an outlook on ITC as well as Dabur. Are the both counters buy at current levels?
Well, ITC, I would avoid suggesting a buy at current levels because the stock has run up exceedingly high. I think there could be a meaningful correction, at least from the recent swing highs for the stock price. Maybe at 400 levels approximately could be a good zone where you may look to buy ITC in case if the stock happens to correct to those levels. But Dabur could be a good replacement buy in that stead. So as I mentioned earlier, that HUL and Dabur are the two names which are playing a catch up. So, there could be a phase where ITC may slightly underperform or remain sideways, but then the likes of Dabur, HUL, they could stand to outperform. So it makes sense to stay invested in Dabur or HUL at current levels and wait out for correction in ITC to buy back.
Okay, on that note, viewers, we are going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with all your stock related queries after this break as well. Welcome back, and you're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET. Now let's keep it going with all your stock related queries. Kunal, this next one is on IDFC First Bank. Sandeep is holding IDFC First Bank at 55 rupees. For the short term, how is this looking like? Should they continue to hold?
Yeah, I think short term, long term, medium term, in all time frame, I think IDFC First Bank, IDFC Limited are looking, both of them are looking very attractive. So, it all depends on what's your time frame, how much is the upside potential or the time frame which you can hold on to, because that would determine the extent of uptick which I believe could be seen in IDFC First Bank as well as IDFC Limited. I would suggest that if you are in from long term play, then you should definitely look to hold on to these names. Quality stocks confirming a breakout on multiple time frames for both of these names, I would suggest a hold.
Okay, Kunal, once again, the question is for you. The question is from Abhijit, and he wants to know, is this a right time to enter Tata Communications with a short-term perspective?
Well, yes, in fact, Tata Communication had a very good breakout. I think last week, Monday or Tuesday, was the time frame when the stock had given a big breakout. After that, 3 days of sideways correction for Tata Communication, and it's come back towards a mean retracement. So ideally, in these kind of scenarios, we expect the stock to bottom out pretty quickly and then get into an upward trend. So risk reward, the trend, both are in favor for Tata Communication. I think you can look to buy at current levels. Near-term targets you can keep should be at approximately 1340, 1360 mark.
Ashish, Subrata Mukherjee from Kolkata wants to buy Andhra Sugar at this current price for the medium to long term. Would you suggest this name, or would you say an avoid for Andhra Sugars?
Actually, unfortunately, I don't like sugar stock too much. This is not something that I have diabetes, but still, this the stock, sugar stocks are quite volatile and they have a very high seasonality. So there's something like in 1 year time, you'll find 10 or 15 good days when sugar stock moves. Rest of the time, they remain in a very lackluster area. So Andhra Sugar is again a stock going nowhere, and it's avoid. Instead of this, I prefer that you buy Parag milk food at 109, which can give you much better return compared to Andhra Sugar.
Okay, moving on, and Kunal, the question is from Kabir Bedi, and he wants your outlook on Loris Lab. He's currently holding 330 shares at an average price of 300 rupees. What he wants to know is that in the next 3 to 4 months, is that reasonable to expect a targets of 380 rupees for this fund?
See, frankly, I have not been a fan for Loris Labs over the last 1 year, and I think I remember so clearly that over the last 1 year, whenever we had received queries, I had mentioned to exit the stock or look at selling or booking losses into the stock. Now, over the last 8-10 months, the stock has corrected very sharply from 600 to I think the recent low was around 279 to 80 for Loris Labs. The last 1 month, the stock has seen some mild recovery. Many of the pharma stocks are recovering. The pathology, stocks are also getting into a recovery phase. So maybe there could be a case that the entire sector is looking attractive, and maybe the worst could be behind. But I'm not sure in terms of a breakout whether the stock can come back to its prime pretty quickly. So you can look to hold on to the stock as of now, but then I would suggest to wait out and to reassess the stock on every phase whenever it tends to get into an upward trend mode.
Okay, Ashish, Vinod from Chennai has purchased Powermech as well as Apar Industries, and they're making a profit on this. But for the long term, a period of 5 years, is it good to hold both these stocks?
No doubt, both the stocks will continue to do well, and APAR excellent set of numbers were there for this quarter, and Powermech is also doing good. So both the stock are pretty good bet for the longer run. I'll advise to remain invested.
Okay, Kunal, the next question is from Karthik Raja, and that's a query from future segment. He's currently holding one lot of Federal Bank and sitting at a loss of 34,000 rupees. So, should he continue to hold on till June end? What's the hope on recovery? And the stock is once again taking a breather at 123 odd levels. So, any hopes on the bounce back?
So I think looking at that, my sense is that your buy price should be closer to 134 or 135 if the loss is around 34,000 in the current market price. So because the lot size for Federal Bank is around 5,000, if I'm not wrong. So you can continue to hold on. I think what you can ideally do is in this scenario, in case if you're looking to hold on to it, say till the month of June or say slightly beyond that, then it makes sense to do a strategy where you can look to maybe sell 140 call option to try and recover maybe a couple of bucks in terms of option, because that could probably also act as a hedge on the upside. If the stock recovers and say comes back towards 135, you may have a slight loss in the call option, but then that could probably be mitigated by the huge profit or the comeback into the stock price if it happens say by the month of June. So I think that's a better strategy for Federal Bank if you're holding the futures.
Kunal, one more coming your way, and this one is from Denny from UK, and they want your view on Cipla. They're actually holding the Cipla call option at 9:30 May expiry. What would you be suggesting them to do here?
Well, I'm not sure what's the current price for the stock as well as what price you've bought into, but looking at the last 2-3 days of charts, it indicates that the stock has gone through a selling. My sense is post result. Again, not too much bullish on Cipla from a short term play. I think a better bet for you if you want to switch out from this stock could be either Glenmark Pharma or else look out for Lupin. These are better alternatives where the stock has confirmed momentum as well as breakout. So buying an option or a call option and betting on the momentum stocks generally rewards very quickly as compared to stocks which struggle quite a lot, the likes of Cipla.
Okay, moving on, and Ashish, the next question is from Jay Krishnan from Kerala, and he wants to know your outlook on APL Apollo, currently holding the shares at a price of 1192 rupees. So wants to know the medium-term outlook. Should he continue to hold on or sell this particular name?
No, I think you can continue to remain invested, gain a performer stock in longer run. Though For the few sessions, we haven't seen that kind of robustness because steel, metal, and metal derivative stocks are not doing that great. But this is a company which is again a proxy play to real estate sector because whatever the pipes they make, they are used widely in the real estate sector. So my suggestion will be to remain invested here.
Okay, on that note, let's get started with the rapid fire. And Kunal, first one coming your way. This one is from Swati. Neogen Chemicals current market price, would you advise to buy for a period of 1 year?
Well, I would suggest to avoid the stock.
Okay, Ashish, what's your take on sale? Poonam is holding shares at the price of 84 rupees. Should he continue to hold on or sell?
No, my suggestion will be to exit.
Kunal, Rain Industries, what is the target price in the short term for a period of three months if someone is looking?
Well, 158 to 168 could be a target range.
Okay, Ashish, what's your take on Zydus Life? Narendra J is holding 500 shares with an average price of 430 rupees. Wants to sell this particular counter. At what levels he should initiate this trade?
No, I don't suggest you to sell the stock. One of the strongest pharma company, remain invested here. I'm expecting another 10% more rise in this stock in next 3 months.
Kunal, Shri from Kerala has 120 shares of Indian Hotels at 326 rupees. Next 3 to 6 months, how is this stock looking like?
I think it's a good time where you should look to book out profits. Maybe on a slight bounce, if not at current levels, but I think 360, 65 could be a very good zone where you should look to book out profits.
Okay, Ashish, the next question is from Indra and she wants to buy Repco Homes. Wants your advice, should he initiate this particular trade? And if yes, then what should be the potential upside in this one?
I'm not that great fan of Repco Home Finance. Instead of this, I'll prefer at this valuation go for Home First Housing Finance, which is a better bet.
Kunal, we have TP Vinod from Salem who wants to know on Zensar Tech and Intellect Design. They're holding Zensar Tech at 304 and Intellect Design at 650 rupees. Should they continue to hold this for a period of 1 to 2 years?
Absolutely, yes.
Kunal, Sam from Goa wants to know the short-term target for Concor. His buy price is 632 rupees.
652 could be a good short-term target.
Okay, the next query is from Ravi Teja from Hyderabad. They're looking for a swing trade. Please suggest the level and target price for Jindal Steel, Kunal.
So, I think short-term wise, I would look out for maybe a 588 as a near-term target for Jindal Steel. Stop loss for this trade you can keep at 560.
Okay, but with this, viewers, it's time's up on the rapid fire session as well as onto the Buy Now Sell Now show. We'll let you go on that. Kunal and Ashish, thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now and helping all our viewers with their stock-related queries. But for this, it's time to bid you goodbye. And as we go and as we wrap up this show, markets are trading near the day's highest point, and wherein you see the Nifty mid cap as well as the Nifty small cap indices all are trading at the day's highest point. So a good rally in the green is what we are seeing, but don't go anywhere. Markets at noon will take the action ahead. Stay tuned.